I never wanted trouble. I just wanted a home, a place where my daughter could grow up safe, where I could tend to my garden in peace. And for the first few months, our new house in Willow Creek seemed like a dream. The street was lined with towering oaks, their leaves whispering in the wind. Every lawn was pristine, almost too pristine, like something out of a catalog. The houses, nearly identical in their beige perfection, stood in rows like obedient soldiers. It was the kind of neighborhood where people smiled but never invited you in, where you could feel the eyes watching from behind lace curtains. Still, I tried to fit in. I planted rose bushes along the front walk, waved at my neighbors, and even attended one of those stiff HOA meetings just to introduce myself. That's when I first met her. Karen Whitmore, HOA president. Blonde bob, pearl necklace, and a smirk that could cut glass. The moment I walked in, her eyes flicked up and down, sizing me up like I was an intruder in my own home. "Oh, you're the new homeowner," she said, stretching out your like it tasted bad. I forced a smile. "That's right. I'm Maya Bennett, my daughter, and I moved in last month." Karen's lips pursed. How nice. But there was nothing nice in her tone. The meeting dragged on, all talk of parking violations and lawn maintenance. But every so often, I caught Karen's eyes on me, as if she was waiting for me to slip up. At first, I brushed it off. Maybe she was just like that with everyone. Maybe I was imagining the way her voice turned sharp whenever she spoke to me. Maybe I was overthinking the way she skipped me in conversations or cut me off mid-sentence. But then, the notices started coming. A yellow slip taped to my mailbox. "Your grass is 1.5 inches above HOA standards. Please rectify immediately." A red envelope on my doorstep. "Your garbage bins were visible for 15 minutes past collection time. Fined, $75. An email, cold and formal. "Your front door is an unapproved shade of blue. Please repaint within 48 hours or face penalties." Little things. Petty things. But they kept coming. And then, one morning, I stepped outside and saw a bright orange sticker slapped onto my front window. "Violation notice. Unauthorized structural changes." My stomach dropped. What structural changes? I stared at the sticker, my pulse pounding. This was more than a warning. This was a threat. And something told me that Karen Whitmore wasn't done with me yet. The orange violation sticker burns in my vision, its bold letters like a slap in the face. I run my fingers over the edges, my pulse hammering. Unauthorized structural changes? That doesn't even make sense. I haven't changed a thing. I glance around, scanning the neighborhood. The street is quiet, but I know I'm being watched. The curtains in the house across the street shift ever so slightly. A car slows as it passes, the driver, a middle-aged white man, giving me a quick, scrutinizing glance before speeding off. I swallow the unease creeping up my spine. Taking a deep breath, I march back inside and dial the HOA office. After 3 rings, a chirpy, automated voice picks up. "Thank you for contacting Willow Creek HOA. Our office hours are." I hang up and try again, this time dialing Karen directly. She answers on the second ring. "This is Karen Whitmore." Her voice is clipped, irritated, like she already knows it's me. "Karen, I just found a violation notice on my house. It says I made structural changes, but I haven't done anything." A long, deliberate pause. Then, "Oh. Yes, oh." I grip the phone tighter. "I'd like to know what this is about." Karen sighs like I'm wasting her time. "Well, Maya, the HOA received a report about modifications to your property. It's all very official. I suggest you check the bylaws." Modifications. My voice rises. "I haven't touched a single thing." Another pause. "Maybe you aren't aware of the rules. Some new homeowners have trouble adjusting. It's important to follow the guidelines, especially when living in certain communities." Certain communities. The words hang between us, heavy with meaning. My jaw clenches. "I want to see that report. I'm afraid that's confidential." Her voice is full of sugar and venom. "But if you want to dispute it, you're welcome to attend the next HOA meeting." The line clicks dead before I can say another word. I exhale sharply, my heart thudding. Something isn't right. I don't have proof, but I can feel it in my bones. I step outside again, scanning my house, my yard, my driveway, trying to see what they see. Nothing is out of place. My lawn is freshly cut. My bins are put away. My front door is the exact shade of blue they demanded. And yet, the sticker remains. Across the street, Karen stands on her porch, a steaming cup of coffee in her manicured hands. She watches me with a smirk, eyes glinting with something cruel. A chill runs through me. I don't know what game she's playing, but I do know one thing. Karen Whitmore is coming for me, and she's just getting started. I don't wait for the next HOA meeting. I march straight to the HOA office the next morning. The receptionist, a younger woman with tight blonde curls, barely looks up from her computer. I need to speak with Karen Whitmore, I say, keeping my voice steady. Do you have an appointment? No, but I'm a homeowner, and I have a right to dispute a false violation. She sighs dramatically, typing something. She's busy. I glance at the frosted glass door behind her, where Karen's name is etched in bold lettering. Through the blurred glass, I can make out her silhouette, sitting comfortably in her chair, probably sipping coffee. I'll wait, I say. The receptionist frowns, but doesn't argue. 15 minutes pass. Then 30. My patience thins. Just as I'm about to demand a meeting, the door swings open. Karen steps out, perfectly composed, her pearl necklace gleaming under the fluorescent lights. Oh, she says, feigning surprise.
Maya.
I didn't know you were here. Liar. We need to talk, I say. She gives a tight smile. Of course. Follow me. Inside her office, Karen gestures for me to sit, but I remain standing. I want to see the report that says I made unauthorized structural changes. Karen sighs, setting her coffee down. Maya, the HOA takes violations very seriously. We can't just show reports to anyone. I'm not anyone. I own my house. If someone accused me of breaking a rule, I have the right to know what they're accusing me of. She leans back in her chair, studying me like a science experiment. Fine. She opens a drawer, pulls out a file, and slides it across the desk. I snatch it up, flipping through the pages. My stomach tightens. There are pictures of my house, zoomed-in shots of my backyard, my front porch, even my bedroom window. A report claims I expanded the foundation, which is a blatant lie. But that's not what chills me. It's the timestamp on the photos. 3:47 a.m. Someone was on my property. At night. My hands shake as I close the file. Who took these? That's confidential. Are you serious? Someone trespassed onto my property to frame me, and you won't even tell me who. Karen shrugs. The HOA relies on concerned citizens to report violations. Concerned citizens. I already know who it was. I lean in, voice low. This is harassment. Karen's smirk grows. It's called compliance. I slam the file down. I'm fighting this. She chuckles. Good luck. The board already voted. If the violation isn't corrected, your property will be flagged for demolition. The words hit me like a brick. Demolition? My voice cracks. She nods. Unpermitted structures are subject to removal. If you don't prove compliance within 14 days, we escalate to the city. I gape at her. This can't be happening. I storm out of her office, my heart pounding. I need proof, real proof. The fight back begins. I spend the next 3 days combing through records, calling city officials, and speaking to neighbors. Most are too afraid to talk. But then I find Mr. Thompson, the elderly black man who lives 2 houses down. When I tell him about the photos, his face hardens. You're not the first, he mutters. He invites me inside, pulling out a dusty old folder. Inside are copies of similar notices, ones he received years ago. They tried this with me, he says. Said my fence was too high. Then it was my porch railing. Then it was my roof color. They do this to people they don't want here. I flip through the papers, my stomach sinking. How did you stop them? I ask. His eyes darken. I didn't. They fined me until I couldn't pay. I had to sell my house and move into this smaller one. Anger flares in my chest. This is bigger than me. Karen and her HOA aren't just enforcing rules. They're weaponizing them. And I refuse to be their next victim. 2 days before my compliance deadline, I walk into the HOA meeting with my head high. The community center is packed. Homeowners sit in stiff rows, their expressions ranging from bored indifference to quiet discomfort. At the front of the room, the HOA board members perch behind a long table, their nameplates gleaming under the fluorescent lights. And in the center, with a smug smile plastered across her face, sits Karen Whitmore. She's dressed like she's attending a gala. Pearls, a crisp white blazer, the air of someone who's already won. I take a seat near the front, gripping my folder of documents so tightly my knuckles turn white. Karen clears her throat. Let's begin. First item on the agenda, violation enforcements. As you all know, our HOA works tirelessly to maintain the high standards of Willow Creek. A murmur of agreement ripples through the crowd. Karen flicks through her notes, then settles her gaze on me. Maya Bennett, stand, please. I push my chair back and rise to my feet. My heart pounds, but I keep my face unreadable. Karen sighs dramatically. Miss Bennett has failed to comply with multiple HOA regulations, including unauthorized structural changes to her property. As per our bylaws, failure to correct these violations will result in property forfeiture and eventual demolition. The crowd whispers. A few familiar faces glance at me, uneasy. I lift my chin. I'd like to dispute these claims. Karen lets out a small, patronizing laugh. Oh, Maya. This isn't about feelings. It's about rules. And the rules state that unauthorized structures must be removed. I take a deep breath. Then let's talk about evidence. She waves a hand dismissively. The board has already reviewed the reports. Reports that were falsified, I interrupt. The murmurs grow louder. Karen's smile falters, but she recovers quickly. You're making baseless accusations. I take out my folder and pull out the photos they used as evidence against me. These were taken at 3:47 a.m., which means someone trespassed onto my property in the middle of the night. The audience gasps. Karen's face tightens. We rely on community reports. Oh, I know, I say, flipping to the next page. That's why I checked public records. The report against me? It was submitted by you. The room falls silent. Karen's lips part, but no words come out. I hold up another paper. And since we're talking about compliance, let's talk about how you selectively enforce these rules. I turn to the crowd. Did you know that Karen's house, her house, has a non-compliant fence? Or that she's fined Black and Latino homeowners for minor infractions while letting white residents slide? Now people are looking at each other, murmuring. Karen slams her palm on the table. This is slander. I smile coldly.
No, Karen.
This is proof. And then I play my trump card. I pull out a flash drive. Lucky for me, my security cameras recorded everything. Karen's breath catches. I walk to the projector, plug it in, and press play. The footage appears on the screen. It's grainy, but clear enough. A figure creeping into my yard in the dead of night. A flashlight scanning my property. The person snapping pictures. The audience collectively leans in. Then, the figure turns slightly, and the unmistakable gleam of Karen's pearl necklace catches the light. A shocked gasp ripples through the room. Karen jolts to her feet. This is ridiculous. That could be anyone. I press another button. The screen zooms in. The figure looks up, revealing Karen's face.
Caught. Red-handed.
The room erupts.
Shouts.
Accusations. Homeowners turning to each other, realizing this wasn't just about me. This was a pattern. Karen stumbles back, her face drained of color. This is out of context. I was just... A voice cuts her off. I knew it. Mr. Thompson stands, his voice steady, but filled with decades of frustration. You did the same thing to me. And then another neighbor stands. And another. And another. Karen looks around, her control slipping. Her power, her privilege, melting before her eyes. I fold my arms. Looks like I'm not the only one who has a problem with your compliance tactics, Karen. She swallows hard. For the first time ever, Karen is speechless. Karen's face is frozen in shock, her pearl-adorned fingers trembling as she clutches the edge of the table. The whispers in the crowd swell into full-blown outrage. She lied to us? She's been targeting people? This is illegal, isn't it? Karen's mouth opens and closes, but no words come out. I take a step forward, my voice calm but cutting. You tried to frame me, Karen. You trespassed onto my property, falsified reports, and abused your position to harass me. And from the looks of it, I'm not the only one. Elle lies, she sputters, her voice breaking. This is a misunderstanding. I cross my arms. A misunderstanding? You mean like how you misunderstood when you fined Mr. Thompson for his fence? Or how you mysteriously lost the paperwork when the Garcias applied to repaint their house? A murmur of agreement spreads through the room. People are nodding, whispering, recalling their own strange run-ins with the HOA. Karen's carefully constructed power is crumbling. She whirls toward the board members, her voice shrill. This is ridiculous. You all know me. I've served this community for over 15 years. One of the board members, a stiff-looking man named Greg, clears his throat. Karen, is it true you filed the violation report against Maya personally? Karen hesitates. I was acting in the best interest of the HOA. We must enforce the rules. By breaking them yourself? I shoot back. The board members exchange uneasy glances. And then, just when I think things can't get worse for her, the final nail in the coffin arrives. The doors to the community center swing open. A woman in a sharp suit strides in, flanked by two uniformed officers. The entire room falls silent. Karen stiffens. What is this? The woman pulls out a badge. Veronica Mills, City Housing Authority. We've received multiple complaints about discriminatory enforcement of HOA regulations, and after reviewing recent evidence, she turns toward the officers. Please detain Mrs. Whitmore for criminal trespassing, falsification of documents, and harassment. The color drains from Karen's face. The officers step forward. Ma'am, please turn around. No. You can't do this. Karen stumbles back, panic setting in. I was just doing my job. Veronica narrows her eyes. Your job doesn't include illegally targeting homeowners, fabricating violations, and manipulating city codes for personal gain. Karen's breathing turns erratic. This is a setup. You don't understand. I was just trying to maintain standards. Greg, the board member, sighs and rubs his temples. Karen, stop. You're making it worse. Karen snaps toward him. You spineless coward. You've let me do this for years, and now you're just turning your back on me? Greg pales. Wait. What do you mean let you do this? Karen realizes her mistake. But it's too late. The damage is done. The room erupts again, louder than before. Wait, so the whole board knew? They've been covering for her? This is corruption. Greg holds up his hands. I didn't. Karen lets out a bitter laugh, her face contorted with fury. Oh, now you all want to act innocent? Don't think you're off the hook, Greg. Or you, Linda. She whirls toward another board member, her voice venomous. You all knew exactly what I was doing, and you let me do it because it benefited you. But the second things get messy, you turn on me? Greg stammers, his forehead beating with sweat. We were just following procedures. The audience explodes in anger. You let this happen? You ruined people's lives. We need a new board. Linda, another board member, stands abruptly. I move for Karen's immediate removal from the HOA board. I second it, someone else says. Karen lets out a sharp, humorless laugh. You think this is over? She glares at me. You did this. You think you've won. I meet her gaze steadily. No, Karen. I think justice won. The officers step in, cuffing her wrists behind her back. She lets out a strangled noise of disbelief as they lead her toward the exit. The moment she's gone, an eerie silence fills the room. Then applause. Not polite claps. Thunderous applause. People cheer. Mr. Thompson pats my shoulder, eyes filled with gratitude. The Garcias hug each other. One woman wipes her eyes and whispers, "It's finally over." I take a deep breath, feeling a weight lift off my chest. It's not just about me anymore. This was bigger than a house, bigger than a violation. This was about every homeowner Karen had ever wronged. And now the whole community sees her for what she really is. Karen Whitmore, once the untouchable queen of the HOA, is let out in handcuffs, her pearl necklace askew, her face a mask of disbelief. The moment she steps outside, the flash of cameras ignites the night. Reporters, news vans, microphones shoved forward as voices clamor. "Mrs. Whitmore, do you deny the allegations of racial discrimination? Is it true you falsified violations against minority homeowners? What do you have to say to the community you've mistreated for years?" Karen's lips move, but no words come out. There's no one left to shield her, no board members rushing to her defense. She's alone, and in that moment she knows.
She's finished.
The fallout comes fast. Within days, Karen's arrest becomes the biggest local scandal in years. News stations air the security footage on repeat. Social media explodes with outrage. More homeowners come forward, filing lawsuits. The city council launches an official investigation into HOA corruption. The remaining board members, desperate to save themselves, resign en masse. And Karen? She's drowning. Her real estate license? Revoked. Her bank accounts? Drained from legal fees. Her name? Synonymous with fraud and racism. When it's all said and done, she loses everything. Her big, pristine house?
Foreclosed.
Her respectability? Shattered. Her power?
Gone.
The last I hear of her, she's renting a cramped apartment on the other side of town, hiding from reporters, a pariah in the same city she once ruled. Karma didn't just tap on her door. It kicked it down. As for me, I wake up in my home, sunlight streaming through the windows. No more threatening letters. No more HOA fines. No more fear. For the first time in months, I can breathe. I step outside and nearly freeze. My neighbors, Mr. Thompson, the Garcias, the Parkers, are in my front yard, holding paint cans, brushes, and tools. I blink. "What's going on?" Mr. Thompson smiles. "You fought for all of us, Maya. Now, we're gonna help fix what she tried to destroy." I stare, emotions hitting me like a wave. Then I smile. And together, as a community, we rebuild. Not just my house. Our trust. Our unity. Our home. Because for the first time in a long time, Willow Creek belongs to all of us.